Hello, my fabulous people. This is Natalie Elliott. So, this week on Atlanta Sex Therapy and Inside Look, we had the opportunity to talk about what's the ideal client for us. We had such a blast, such a good time. And so I hope you're enjoying this content. I hope you're enjoying getting to know us and how we think and how we approach cases and everything. If you are enjoying this content, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications buttons so you know. We try to do it weekly. We are rolling into the holiday season, so we'll be taking some time off, but we want you to know us. And we want to know you. So let's get into it. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
Good
Today
morning.
is Friday, October the 7th. And so, if everybody would check in and tell me just how you're doing this wonderful day, then we're going to jump into who is a good candidate for sex therapy. That's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. So, all right, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Had a little snafu this morning, but it's okay. It's okay. My nephew was in emergency, so I've been up. I got probably 4 hours of sleep. So, but
Oh
I'm
wow.
good. I've had a cup of coffee and I'm awake. Can't you see how quickly my eyes are blinking? But I'm doing good. I'm
All
doing good.
right, all right, all right. All right, Jessica, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually taking the day off and um, going to a board game convention. So
I'm so excited to know that a board game convention exists. Like, wow. All right. All right, Sherry, how are you?
Doing good, just
That's,
hanging in there,
oh, and you're at
adulting.
home. You're not at the office today.
Well, I'll be there. I'll be there.
It's one of those days.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I woke up at like 3 and just, I don't think I fell back into a deep sleep
Yeah.
with whatnot. So who knows what happens. Okay, so who do you guys think, what makes a good candidate for sex therapy? Who should be coming to sex therapy? Sharon, we're going to start with you. I'm going to go back around the other way.
Okay. I have to have an honest answer right now and say, I'm not sure if everyone is a good candidate for sex therapy or if I just don't know who's a good candidate for sex therapy.
All right, say a little bit more.
One of those mornings.
What'd you say, Natalie?
I said, say more about that. What have you noticed? Who have been the clients that have been like good clients, or you're glad they came in, or what?
Okay, so I'm thinking, right? So I guess the conclusion I could come up with, the candidates that come in, and this could be this systemic therapist in me, right? We start with sex. But then it seems like when we start thinking systemically, meaning like the big picture and everything about their relationship satisfaction, then it starts to shift more towards relationship satisfaction. And what I will say is, so I guess a good candidate is somebody who has an open view and know that it's not just about penis and vagina, coaching, and I'm not going to say lay out on the couch and take her feather and rub it over her body and see if that works. And it's just more to it. So just be open to the process and then just having understanding of what a sex therapist is.
Okay. All right. And how would you define a sex therapist?
Okay, so I guess I would design.
Give it up too, huh?
Yeah. Define a sex therapy as a person who deals with more the mental and emotional effects of different sexual dysfunction, even if it's like orgasmic disorder, ED, vaginismus. Like we explore, even though we may give some physical things that you can do to enhance that, we still may explore the psychological factors that's also influencing those phenomena or things
Thank
like
you, ma'am. I'm gonna let you off the hot seat now. All right, Jessica, I'm throwing the ball to you. Who was a good candidate for sex therapy?
So I think it's a combination of things. So one, it's acknowledging that there's something happening that you either don't want to happen, or that something's not happening that you do want to happen, or you're having difficulties talking about what you want to happen or what is not happening. So one, acknowledging that there's something going on or something not going on that you would like to change. So an aspect to change. And then also being open to figuring out how we're going to change that. That could be different than what you think. So like, again, kind of what, we have all said of, I've had women come in and they're like, I have a problem with sex. I was like, okay, well, let's talk with your husband. And they were like, why? Like, this is my problem. And I was like, okay, first of all, sex takes two. Like,
it's a team sport.
You're going to be participating with somebody else. And so having an idea of like, okay, what are their perceptions? What are their expectations? Like, you're taking all of this on as this is my problem, when one, it may not be a problem. Like, we have to ask the other person that's involved in this. And two, it could be a communication problem. It could be a myriad of different things versus like what you think it is, like, or approached, or potential solutions could be lying in places other than where you think they are. And so just being able to not only know that something's going on, but you being up for it, and then ideally your partner being up for it as well. So yeah. Okay. I think it's that open-mindedness more than anything. Like they've got to, like, if they come in and they're like, and I'm not changing it. Cool. This is going to be really hard for all of us.
I literally have had a client who came to see me for sex therapy and said, I don't want to have sex with my partner, and I don't want you to get me to want to have sex with my partner. Wow. And it was just like,
we're here, why?
Right?
Why are you here?
So it can happen, and I would say that is a person who needs to come to sex therapy. All right, Joe, what do you hear on the phone? What are you thinking? Who makes a good candidate, a good client for us?
Oh gosh, the ones that I think we're never taught what, the basics of sex, what is it? And there are a lot of people that call and they're just like, well, I was really never taught the basics and I want to go back to it. But just in general, anybody who's just male, female, and it's like, they just, I think the best candidate are the ones that just don't know, they just don't know what it is. And I think you mentioned it earlier. Some people just don't know what sex therapy is. I think it was Sharon, but they don't know what it is. Some of them think it's you coming into the office and then the therapist is helping them with sex, physically touching. So they need to know what that definition. And I'm like, no, it's not it. What the definition of sex is. So any person that is not sure what sex is about, has not ever had sex, and just to get a healthy point of view, a better description. And that's a lot of people calling in. It's like, what is it? What do we do? So it's like a broad question, which was a very excellent question, but it's really broad. So anybody, just anybody. Anybody. It's kind of an open-end statement, it's like anybody. So I also, deal with them coming in again about having sex and sex surrogates. So I think a lot of people are wanting somebody to teach them about how to have sex and what to do. So just curiosity, people who are curious about, what is this? Because it's different than being on TV. It's not what it is on TV. They plan that. There's a lot of other stuff that goes with that. So anyway, I digress. I'm stopping.
All right. So let me say for everybody who knows or does not know, right now, and I'll have to double check, California is the only place where sex surrogacy is legal. All right. But you talk to one of us, we will try our best to help you figure out how to navigate what you need and how to get your needs met. And so ideally, in a case like that, where you're wanting to experience a sexual experience, we'd like you to have a real sexual experience. So as opposed to telling you to get on a plane and fly to California, how about you start dating? How about you find somebody who maybe wants to spend some sexy time with you? And so that person may be coming in for sex therapy, but we're going to help them, teach them how to date, how to find a good partner, how to talk about intimate moments, and then how to be intimate. So that would be an excellent candidate for sex therapy. I have a whole video, and I was saying my clients are regular people, but somehow we missed a sex class. Like we missed something in there that seems like everybody else got. We missed. And now that I've been doing this for a number of years, a lot of people miss that same class.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. And so I remember just a couple of weeks ago, a client came back in and they were like, "Oh my God, Natalie, you told us to use the lubricant. And that was like the best thing ever. That's totally changed our sex life." And I was like, wow, you don't know what you don't know. And
That's
so a lot
right.
of people don't know you should almost always be using a lubricant. The female body is very fickle. It's very fickle. And so you can be in wonderful health, but started taking antihistamines and you need a lubricant. And so keeping a lubricant on hand, that's something that sex therapists would probably tell you. And the funniest thing is, I just remember thinking like, that's what y'all got out of the last session.
It's like,
if that worked for you, like, go for it. Because it was like, it just, their expressions was like, that was life-changing. And so it seems like there's so many little things that we help people with, because again, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't usually even know what you don't know regarding sex. And people forget, because they think like, I've watched all of this porn or I've done all of this. You're not seeing behind the scenes. You're not seeing what they actually have to do. I know like of a story one time of a male who thought he had to show up to the sexual encounter with a rock hard penis and was very intimidated that he couldn't make that happen beforehand. Okay, yeah, no, that's not real. Like we can start from zero and work our way up. Like we can get there. And so we'll have all of these expectations and ideas in our head. And so anybody who can't have a frank conversation about sex, is still feeling awkward around sex, is questioning some things around sex, it would be good for you to come in and have a conversation with a sex therapist. Even if it's just to say, use lubricant. Like, or stuff. And we think that there's information out there, but there's not good sexual health information out there. Go ahead, Jessica, jump in, and you're on mute, so unmute yourself.
Sure. So, okay. So 2 things. One, in the state of Georgia, sex education is required, but it is not required to be medically accurate. Ooh. So there is a website where you can look up the state and what is required for the sexual education in your area. We in Georgia are required to talk about HIV. Again, it does not require to be medically accurate, and it can be religiously biased in that typically a lot of the sex education that's happening in Georgia is from an abstinence perspective, which a lot of people are like, okay, cool, don't have it. And then if you're married, it's like, okay, and now we're magically supposed to be good at this, despite being told we're not supposed to have it or think about it or do anything with it.
Yeah.
For all of that time. And then 2, I just wanted to define, so a sex surrogate is somebody who physically touches you and works with you to have an intimate encounter. And then a sex therapist is somebody who helps you talk about that more in the abstract with a partner or in a future instance that is not in their office, just because we didn't technically define that. So I just wanted that defined.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I didn't catch that. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to add anything else?
No, I think that that's good. And I think that that's a piece that, especially for sex education, that was missed.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be a requirement, was a healthy requirement in, high school and things like that, junior high. But I think what happened is it was skipped over. And then
Yeah.
it went from being a healthy requirement to, okay, get on birth control pills, here are condoms, and then show you how after that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you skipped over the basic part. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times people don't even know what sex looks like. How do you
Mm-hmm.
do it? I mean, you have
Mm-hmm.
these parts, but
Mm-hmm.
parts of parts. And how do they go together? So they're not
Mm-hmm.
taught a healthy way to do that. So they start going to porn and they
Mm-hmm.
start going to books,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times I think Jessica spoke on the religious side too, and people get stuck in this thing here, but their hormones are raging. And then they
Yeah.
feel like they've sinned because they touched somebody. And
Yeah.
that's all the way over there. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is,
Pull
people
your
again
microphone
haven't
back
been
down.
educated. Yeah, they haven't been educated. They haven't been taught. So it's like they become afraid of sex. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
do get married after being abstinent,
Yeah.
and that's okay over here, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what to do. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know that just totally. They don't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it creates more problems down the line instead of just being honest and saying, here you go,
Yeah.
here's what you have,
Yeah.
and this is what you need to do, because some people are going to go experiment anyway, and it's more trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up being more
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has to be open and honest. It's almost like tucked under the table when that's not how it's supposed to be. The parts are here for a reason.
Yeah.
We each have sexual parts for a reason. So that could jump into a big rabbit trail,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the other side. So it has to have some balance too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So all
I'm
that was,
sorry.
No,
they
go
end up
Sharon.
coming to the sex therapy office, and they're Christians. They have all this stuff, but they're hiding. Some of them, some Christians, I'm a Christian, but if they have not had that education, they're watching porn behind the scenes. They're sitting in the pew, and they're trying to be holy, but nobody's taught them how to do these things, and they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking they're sinning, going to hell, but nobody said anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having these thoughts about these bad thoughts. Why I'm having bad thoughts with something that's healthy. Sex is normal.
Mm-hmm.
But in a context, in a certain context. And that's what I think is missed.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, Sharon, you wanted to jump in and say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say clearing up the shame and guilt about what your body naturally does. You gotta get horny. You cannot be ashamed of
Right.
that. Your vagina is gonna feel a certain way and tingly, and your penis is gonna, and that's okay. That's a natural process of life.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. There's no escape.
Yeah.
And just, so for me, sometimes I get younger clients, I want to say maybe between 20 and 30, who gets really confused that they just can't hook up and have casual sex. So normalizing that experience for them, like, why do you, but let's say, but people that I connect with, I can have healthy sex with. And I'm looking like, so why is that a problem for you? So it can be really like, so what's the goal here to meet up? And then I say, do you consider that risky behavior? If you don't, that's fine. But if you do, why would you not be a little bit, why wouldn't your brain want to keep you safe? So if you just met somebody at 5 p.m. and at 7 p.m. you don't feel connected enough to have sex, why is that presenting a problem for you?
Yeah.
To where you want to come here and hash this out? Like, why don't you even trust yourself? So then it becomes a little bit deeper than just the actual sexual act. It's more so, why are you even having this hang up about how to trust yourself? And why do you think that this is necessary to measure your quality of sex life?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So who should come to sex therapy? Anybody who's having any hangups and shame and guilt around sex or sexual behaviors, things that they're doing or things that they're not doing. I think anybody has any questions in general about what should and should not happen during sex, when and when it should happen, when it should not happen, what makes a good sexual encounter. With not and oh, let me just I want to say something about that real quick because it came up this week. Is like there is no like one way that sex is supposed to be happen, and so however it needs to happen for both parties to be happy, to feel fulfilled and satisfied, that's what needs to happen. Like there's no one way. And so if I have a client, and I've talked to this a lot of my premature ejaculation clients, they'll say, well, you know, I come really fast. Okay, so can we put sex into two parts? So you come really fast the first time, then you guys do some other wonderful activities and fabulous things, and then y'all have intercourse again. Would you come fast the second time? Probably not. And that's okay if sex needs to look like for you guys. And so do what works and be okay doing what works for the both of you. Do not try to get sex to make it look like it looks on TV. It's all stage. It's all fake. The beds aren't real. That was what was surprising to me. Particularly in porn, because of lighting, you know, mattresses are unstable. It's really just a board that they put down with a comforter over it, so everybody can really do what they need to do and move how they need to move. And because covers will mess up lighting, you know, with that. And so the beds aren't real. Like you can't
right
things. And so I want people to know that. So anybody who's thinking that porn is real, you would also be a good candidate for sex therapy with that. And I know there's a lot of amateur porn out there. And again, like people will reshoot and shoot again until they get like the perfect shot. And most people can't do that. I have some actors and actresses in my office. They really do spend 3 hours a day working out. Like they really do. And so most of us can't do that. And so if you're a regular person, you are probably a good candidate for sex therapy, just to talk about what has worked, what you've been thinking, what you haven't been thinking. Older couples who are having to come to terms with what we used to do is not what we can do now, and we need to redefine our sex life and what that looks like. They are excellent candidates for sex therapy. I always want my clients, no matter when they come in, to be able to have the tools to have a great sex life for the rest of their life. Like I want you like at 99, knowing how to move around and have good conversations to get what you need, you know? And so there's this idea that like sex kind of like will die away or go away eventually. But at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, sex is a desire to be touched. And we have touch needs, and touch needs don't go away with age. They may even ramp up with age.
I'm just gonna give me a nap first. I'm good.
If you read some of the nursing home STD statistics,
it's like I found him in the bed with her and they're 90. It's like, well, so what? Were they having a good time? Leave them alone.
right?
Leave them alone. They've earned it by then.
So
I have a 98-year-old grandmother that's still alive, and this is making me think of her for some reason.
Wow.
I'm trying to visually, you know, I don't know why I'm trying to visualize that, but I'm like, I
well,
wonder what that would look
most
like.
people will identify sex makes them feel good, makes them feel wanted, makes them feel loved, makes them feel connected. And then a lot of people will say it makes them feel young. It makes them feel vibrant. It makes them feel alive. And so wouldn't you want an old person to have that?
I think that's great.
You know, with that. So who else can y'all think of would be a good candidate for sex therapy that we haven't talked about? I want to say
Sexual trauma.
We're going to talk about that. Sexual trauma would be really good. Because a lot of times what happens with trauma therapy in general is we fix the trauma and you're good. The trauma is no longer bothering you, so you're functioning, but you still haven't figured out how to have a great sex life yet, you know? And so there's some things that happen to us that will always be altered by it. big or small, will always be altered by it. And so when you have a sexual trauma, for you, that may or may not alter you. And so having a conversation with a sex therapist to say, okay, what is good sex? What do I want my sex to look like now? I talk a lot with my clients about reclaiming that. Like, you know, your sexual pleasure was taken from you by force, by somebody else's will. Let's take it back and figure out, what do you want that to be for you now? Like, what do you want to be? This is yours. Like, you know, I was like, I've given you carte blanche to make a life that you want to make. Like, what do you want that to entail? I'm so excited when they can, you know, when they can say, you know what, this is what I want it to be. This is what I want to do. I'm not going to be stuck with what somebody else did to me or made me think, or, you know, whatever decision they made for my life. I'm going to make a good decision for my life with that. Let's see, who else would be really good candidate for sex therapy?
Mismatched desire.
Ooh, good one. Mismatched desire couples. Excellent.
And also, just to like define that, that's when one person wants to have sex a particular amount of times and the other person wants sex a dramatically different amount of times.
Yes. And what I want people to know is that this is like a regular couple skill of negotiation. That's it. This is a regular negotiation couple skill, because it could flip. So partner A could be the higher sex person for the first 5 years, and then partner B can be the higher sex person for the next 5 years. And it's going to change. Work and work schedule is going to change it. Children, parenting, caregiver needs, house renovations. Like, there's so many
body changes.
And so to be able to negotiate, hey, this is what I'm needing. What are you needing? How do we meet in the middle with that? And this is just a regular couples therapy, sex therapy issue. That's just learning about negotiating. How do you get yourself there when you're not there? Like when you don't have a sexy thought in your head, how do you get yourself to feel those sexy thoughts so that you can be with your partner with that? So that's a skill that we teach in sex therapy. Let's see, what else? Sharon, what else do we teach? Can you think of anything? Nothing right now?
Nothing, but I never mind. Yeah, I don't really have anything.
Okay, I'm going to say, if anybody has ever had any questions about sex, or you just wanted to have a good conversation with somebody, an open, honest conversation with somebody, then come into sex therapy. This week I got to say out loud, so do you just want somebody to ask you? I mean, like, we were talking about how blunt can couples be, you know, and so we were like, okay, so should your partner just say, hey, can I eat you out? And so that tickles me, because I was like, oh, I hardly ever get to say that. But like, that's how blunt we get in couples therapy. Like, this is no innuendos. Like, we are saying all of the words. We're talking about it. We're talking about body issues and how do we do it with this medical problem, and, you know, what about bad breath in the morning? And so if you need to have like a blunt conversation, clarifying conversation, then definitely come in. And so all of us would love to have you. All right. We also have 2 other therapists on staff, Mary Hannah and Lamar. And so if you want to work with a guy, we have a guy for you. You know, I think we have the gamut covered with that. All right. So I think that's it for the day. Any last comments?
Just have patience.
Excellent. Have patience. That's excellent. Oh, that's so perfect. All right. We're going to end with that. Everybody have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.